Hey everyone, David MacDonald here from Vitality Fitness Calgary. Today we're going to go over your exercise of the week. Exercise of the week is an elevated split squat. So it's a great way of isolating the quads and the glutes on the front leg on the split squat. The benefit of getting into an elevated position is it's going to help to disengage that back leg. Okay, it creates more instability, okay, which allows you to isolate that front leg more. Okay, so we're going to go over how to do the elevated split squat and some of the things you want to think about while you're in this movement. This is probably one of the best exercises for working the glutes, okay, and working the thighs. Okay, if you have a goal of, toning your thighs, you want to lift your butt a bit, you want to get some nice definition in those legs, this is one of the best. Especially when you start adding in high reps, you start getting into that 10, 12, 15 rep range, it becomes very challenging. Okay, great at isolating these areas. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a step. You want to get a step that's quite stable. Okay, so you don't want to be on anything that has a small base of support. You want to get something like a bench or stuff like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to elevate our back leg. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can have your foot flat, or you can have your foot flexed. Okay, that's really dependent on you. Very dependent on the mobility of your ankle joint, okay? Whether or not you have range of motion through that joint. So some people are gonna have great range of motion. They can go to a flat position. Others might have to go to more of a flex position, depending on your comfort. So personally, I go to the flat position because I like that position more. It feels more comfortable. I get decent mobility in my ankles, and I find it just isolates that leg more, okay, when I have my foot like this. So we're going to get that foot elevated. We're going to keep those hips square. Okay, very common thing people will do is they'll open up the hips and then they'll try to go out into the movement. And that really throws your movement off. So you want to close those hips, get them square. Okay, so hips are square. Now the foot that's on the floor, we're going to be moving it out. What we want is we want the ankle, the knee, the hip in a nice straight line. Okay, so I'm going to move it out a little bit. So it's going to feel like you're kind of out really far when you do this. You're kind of on an offset stance, but you actually want that because again, you want the ankle, knee, and hip making a straight line while your hips are square. Okay, so once we get into that position, we're going to have a slight lean forward so we can put as much emphasis as we can on this leg. Very common thing people do is they'll back up like this and they'll leverage that back leg. Okay, we don't want to leverage that back leg too much. It's a supporting leg, not a working leg. So we're going to lean forward slightly. We're going to get some weight to that front foot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bend that back knee. So we're going to collapse that back knee towards the ground. So you're going to have to bend through that knee joint. We're going to drop down. We're going to keep our front knee in line with that ankle. Okay, we're going to drive through that heel using our glute and our quad, and we're going to come up. Okay. Now, very common thing people do when they get into this movement is they keep that back leg straight, and that will prevent you from getting some good depth into that movement. Okay? So again, we're bending that back knee, keeping the hips square, slight lean forward, driving through that heel, keeping that knee in line with that ankle. Okay? You can really feel those when I'm going down. Really feel my butt and my quads. So, split squat on an elevated bench, awesome exercise. I would recommend starting it with 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps a side, okay, resting 30 to 60 seconds in between. And it's a great exercise you can add into your leg workout, whether that's at the gym or whether that's at home. Great way to isolate and work the legs. If the elevated split squat is too much, there's 2 ways we can modify it. We can go elevated on the step without any weight, okay, which I would recommend if you've never done these. Or we can make this even easier and just do a standard split squat on the floor, okay? We have more stability because we're not elevated, we're flat, and our base of support is much better as well, okay? So also another option is to do a split squat on the ground. That's your exercise of the week, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.